A few moments later.
If I spill any of this on the carpet, my mum's gonna kill me. Hey guys, it's Gab. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a really embarrassing video, hence the wine, because I'm going to be telling some of my most embarrassing stories from my life. I need the wine to help me get through it. Sorry also that the lighting is awful. I think we've just come to the point in our lives where we realize that I don't have good lighting. In my 18 years of life, I have had a lot of embarrassing moments. A lot of them, honestly, I don't like to think about, but you know what? Sometimes it's what we have to do. Sometimes we have to film ourselves and then post on the internet embarrassing stories from our life. It's fine. I'm fine.
I'm fine.
Okay, let's tell some embarrassing stories. This first one, I'm gonna take you back to when I was about 6 years old. Honestly, I'm really ashamed of this one. I'm ashamed of myself. I'm ashamed of what I was doing. Honestly, it's really quite terrible. When my mum was younger, she used to dance, and she had kept all of her dance costumes as my and my sister's like dress up clothes, so we could like dress up in them and have a fun time. Well, one of them was this really old purple, blue and pink, ratty kind of netted material. Not netted, just like a really thin, papery type material. They were my Cinderella clothes because I just thought they looked like Cinderella's ugly worker clothes. So this one day, I was playing around in my house, you know, put on the outfit, decided I'm gonna go and sit on the side of the street and see if any cars stop to help this poor little girl out. So I messed up my hair, messed up my face, no shoes, this ratty old disgusting piece of clothing, literally went outside of my house and just sat on the curb and waited for a car to come by. I hate myself. So eventually a car came. It was this woman in this big car. I don't know what type of car it was, but it was a big car. She saw me. I don't know what I was trying to achieve here. I really don't. Like, I was just sitting on the side of the road looking a mess. I don't know what my actual goal was. Basically, she drove past and she honked her horn at me, and then I'm pretty certain she stuck the finger up at me. And I was quite small. Like, I was what, 6 years old? And like, I get now, it wasn't the right thing to do to just go and sit on the side of the road by myself. But little 6-year-old me thought that getting the finger stuck up at you was the worst thing in the world. And so, of course, I was like, okay, we need to give up the act now, go back inside. And I'm pretty sure I cried about the fact that she stuck the finger up at me and beeped the horn. But I think back now and it's an embarrassing story because I'm like, what was going through my mind when I decided, oh, I'm gonna dress up in ratty old clothing and go sit on the side of the street and wait for someone to give me food or money. I think I thought it was a way for me to get money, which, so you might not think that's embarrassing, but now I look back and I'm like, it's kind of embarrassing. But, you know, we're starting off, we're easing into the embarrassment. We're just easing into it. We're starting off at the like lesser embarrassing things, and as we go along, we're gonna get more embarrassing, so yay. Now, the second one is quite more embarrassing than the first one. The first one, honestly, it could be counted as just a silly little kid story, but the second one, honestly, still haunts me to this very day, and I feel like a complete idiot. When I was younger, from the age of like, I want to say 18 months until I was about 12, I swam. That was my sport. I was a swimmer. And around the age of like 7, 8 years old, I had decided that my future career was to become a professional swimmer and hopefully someday swim in the Olympics. And you know what? I thought I could make it to the top. I thought I could win gold for Australia. I thought I was that good. And like, I'm not a bad swimmer. I'm not. But I don't think I knew how much hard work it would be to actually train to get into the Olympics. But you know what? Little 7, 8-year-old me had a dream, and I wanted to make that happen. So the swim place where I attended, every Friday night they had a swim comp. What was it called? Every Friday night you'd go and you'd like swim in like mini races. I don't think you'd win anything. You might just win like a bag of lollies because they always sold like bags of lollies there. Or at the end of like a term, they would add up who like won a lot and then you'd get like a little ribbon or something. I don't honestly remember. But the first time that I did that was the worst time that I did that. It was my very first Friday night swim competition. And you know what? I was really nervous, but I was also prepared. And I was like, you know what? This is going to be the beginning. This is going to be something that I look back on when I'm standing in that first place position at the Olympics one day and be like, this is where it all started. That didn't happen. This is where it goes downhill. So I'll just give you a little rundown of how swim starting buzzers work. So basically, you know the on your marks, get set, go thing? I didn't get that memo. And basically there's like a whistle, and then there's a small buzz, and then there's a big buzz. You dive in on that big buzz. I didn't know that. So I heard the whistle, got prepared, buzz went off, and I was in. I was freestyling for my life. You know what? I was swimming for that gold. Everyone was yelling. And when you're swimming, you know, half the time your ears are under the water. So like while I was swimming, you know, it was like 1, 2, 1, 1. I heard just everyone screaming. And I was like, oh my God, I'm doing so well. Oh my God, this is so good. This is my first time ever swimming in a competitive situation and I am nailing it. I am going for that win. I'm gonna win the Olympics, you know. Oh my God, this is so good. They're all cheering me on. I must be in the lead. Technically I was, but that's because no one else had dove in yet. I dove into the water on the set buzzer.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Like, ready, set, go. I went on the set. And so I got about 3/4 of the way down the pool before someone had come around and like grabbed me and said, you went too early, you need to come back and start again. I was crushed. I mean, it was so awful. I thought that I was going good. I thought that I was winning. I thought I was in the lead. I was like, I must be some superhuman to be in my first competitive race at the age of 7, 8 and be beating all these other people who have been swimming for a while. So, you know, I'm a very emotional person. So what do? I cry, and I don't think I swam that race. I'm pretty sure we went home straight after that misfire. Or maybe I did swim it. Honestly, I don't remember exactly. It was a while ago and I tried to erase most of that night out, but it's still embedded in my memory, and I honestly remember like pretty much every detail of that night, except if I swam the race again, because I think by the time I had been notified that I had dove in too early, I was like, right. Everything else is just a hazy kind of blur. I don't remember what happened. What I do remember though is that from then on, everyone remembered me. You know what? Everyone in that swim club remembered who I was. And I swam there for about 4 years. And they knew me as like the girl who swam too early that first time. And like, don't bring it up again. Don't remind the poor little girl who was trying her best that she failed pretty much on her very first swim meet. Like, don't do that. Needless to say, I was very nervous to go back. But I went back, and you know what? I actually won some things in my time swimming there. But that first swim will always haunt me and be completely terrible and awful and
It was at this point that the wine started to go to my head and I was slightly tipsy the rest of the way through.
Most of my embarrassing stories range between the 6-year-old to 9-year-old portion of my life. That was probably when I was the most embarrassing, especially 9. When I look back at photos, I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? What was I doing with my life? Embarrassing memory number 3. When I was 6 years old, the house that I lived at was directly opposite this other house with a boy that I went to school with, and our mums worked together, so we were kind of close. We were kind of thrust together to be friends, and we were pretty good friends. Like, I honestly considered him my best friend at that time, from the ages of like 6 to 8. We were like this, you know, we carpooled on the way to school. I had so many fond memories with him, and honestly, it's probably because I was in love with him. Yes. We're gonna call him, I don't even know. I don't know what I can call him. We're going to call him Jeremy. You know what, if he ever sees this, which I doubt he will, he'll know who he is because, like, we were neighbours. And the rest of the story also will, like, explain why else he would know. So basically, I had the biggest crush on Jeremy. You know, I was like, we're already best friends. We just need to move to that next level to become boyfriend and girlfriend. I was fully in deep with this kid. On my sidewalk, the very same sidewalk where I had sat and pretended that I was a poor orphan child, I had gotten some fun, colourful chalk and done a big heart and written something like Jeremy plus Gabby
forever.
And I'm like, you know, I just loved him so much. I wanted to share that with the world. But because I'm stupid, I didn't think about the fact that he lived across the street from me. And him and his other neighbor on, like, because he lived on the corner of a street. So I was the neighbor from the front of his house. This other kid, we'll call him Bennett, lived on, like, the side of his house, like opposite the side of his house. So Bennett had a dog. Jeremy and him would go walking with this dog. And so obviously when they went on this walk, they had seen my chalk drawing on the ground that basically declared my love for Jeremy. Now, Bennett was kind of a bully to me. I don't know why. It wasn't until we were like teenagers until he finally started to be nice. But basically this one day I was over at Jeremy's house and Bennett came over and Bennett mentioned the chalk drawing and I wanted to fall into the ground. I was so upset and, like, humiliated, and I tried to blame it on my sister and was like, ow! That wasn't me. I didn't draw that. I don't have a crush on Jeremy. What are you talking about? It's not like I'm in love with him. I didn't draw that. I don't even know what you're talking about. I think my sister probably drew it. She likes to draw with the chalk. That's like her thing. So it wasn't me. I totally don't have a crush on Jeremy. I'm just, yeah, because that's convincing. So needless to say, Jeremy found out about my crush on him and I don't think he reciprocated the feelings. So that's fun. Jumping a year into the future at age 8. Oh, if I thought the crush on Jeremy was bad, this crush was like next level. I'm pretty sure I thought this kid was my soulmate. Now, I have found in my life that I am one to jump from boy to boy with crushes. I think it's because I've never actually had anyone, so I'm like forced to just crush on these guys without, you know, expecting anything in return. The minute I met this kid, we're gonna call him Dakota. It's just... Dakota and I... Why is his name Dakota? Why did I name... Why? It's sticking now. Anyways, Dakota and I, we weren't really friends in year 1, and that's when I moved to this particular school, so I only met him in year 1. But year 2 was where we really connected as people. We were sat next to each other at the back of the classroom, and he was really funny, and I love a funny guy. That's, you know, like the biggest like thumbs up for me is if they're funny, then I'm going to like them. Now Dakota he was just perfect, you know. He was blonde, he was funny, he had blue eyes, like he's just the perfect kid. And we were good friends, you know, we really hit it off at the back of the classroom in year 2. I'm pretty sure I fell hard and I fell fast for him. I wasn't one as a kid to keep a diary or anything, but this one year, I had decided that I'm gonna try and write a diary. So I did. What was the main article in this diary? None other than Dakota himself. Now, I have since looked through this diary and read what I have said. I don't honestly know where it is right now, so I can't find it and read you word for word what I had said. It basically was something like, I am so in love with this guy. He is so hot and he's just the hottest guy I've ever known. And he's really funny and I'm just so in love with him. And I can never tell him. I can never bring myself to tell him this. I can never, no, it can't happen. I didn't hide it very well. I'm pretty sure I just hid it in like my pajama drawer or somewhere easier than that to find, because my best friend at the time, one day she was over and she found it and just started looking through it and I didn't realize. And then she basically screams out,
"Oh my god, you have a crush on Dakota?"
And I was just...
Oh no.
I basically grabbed the book from her, ran to my parents' room, threw it at the top of their wardrobe over in the back corner. As young, tiny little 8-year-olds, we couldn't reach up there, but I was so terrified. She was like,
"I'm gonna tell him that you like him. I'm gonna tell everyone."
Which honestly doesn't sound like very best friend attitude, and I don't think she ended up doing it. I think she was just kidding, but in my mind, I was like, no, he can't, no, oh my god, our friendship will be ruined. My whole life will be ruined. I was just so embarrassed that she knew because I didn't want anyone to know. So yeah, I was quite embarrassed. Also, I was embarrassed from the stuff that I wrote. Like years later, I went to my parents' room and I was like, the book is still up there. I'm gonna find it and read it. And it was literally like, he is so incredibly hot.
Oh my god.
That's embarrassing stuff. Like, why was 8-year-old me thinking that some kid is incredibly hot? Wow, he's so sexy. Oh my god. One day I'll find it and I'll like read out exactly what I said, but just the fact that she had read it, I was so embarrassed. When I found it, I had a good laugh about it myself and sent what I had written to Dakota himself and said, "Yo,
I have a huge crush on you."
And I found my old diary and this is what it says. I just want to apologize. And you know what? We had a good laugh about it together. It was a fun time. Jesus. I think the wine's getting to my head.
Yeah, no shit, honey!
Pretty certain that I'm a bit tipsy. So anyway, those are some of my embarrassing stories that I can think of right now from my life. It's not that many. Hopefully one day I'll have like a video with more embarrassing stories because I'm sure there'll be more to come and I'll think of more than what I could think of tonight. I think the most embarrassing story out of all of them that I told was definitely still the swimming one. Like that one haunts me to this day. And why did I do that? Why did no one tell me when I'm supposed to dive in? Why did everyone laugh at me and then continue to bring it up for weeks afterwards? Like, thank you guys so much for watching. Drop a like if you feel sorry for me, and you know, even if you don't feel sorry for me and you're like, you know what, this was really funny and entertaining to watch, so just give me a like, because why not? Make sure to hit that subscribe button and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!